HKU
The Master's Fine Art Program.
HKU
The Master's Fine Art Program.
HKU
The Master's Fine Art Program. For those of you who do not know what HKU stands for, it's the Art Academy in Utrecht.
Students and graduates of the HKU Master.
We were shy, we didn't know much about each other, but we were curious.
HKU
And we got to know each other through collaborating with each other. The Master's Fine Art Program
includes audio tours of the exhibition as well as conversation with and contribution by the artists and guests. Tune in and listen to personal stories, experience, struggle, artistic productions, processes, dreams, and nightmares.
Thank you so much for that contribution.
The first contribution that we are playing now is called Fish Story by GERARDO TONDA.
So Fish Story is a sonic exercise combining a fish invasion and my first memory of a face-to-face encounter with a fish. Originally, the work was composed by a video together with a proposition of following a drawing hand as if it was their own. In the end, the participants materialized a fish at their homes. So please, if you feel like it, draw with whatever you have at hand, even with your finger on the air, a fish, while you listen to my story.
We were probably leaving early that day in the morning. My parents like it that way. Everything packed and ready the night before, just to wake up, get in the car, and hit the road before the sun comes out. Breakfast in the car. I always produce aversions to the food I ate in those trips. It took me like 15 years to be able to eat again panela cheese and tortilla de patatas. Something related to motion sickness, which I still get. My mother would say that I have to look at the furthest point of the horizon, which I incessantly tried, but never been able to find. Years later, I would understand that it was just about looking at the horizon, almost like the attitude indicator in planes.
Next, we are going to hear from artist Sol Ine Lee. This is readings and performance sounds from the scores that come from Sol Ine Lee's translation project, 35. She translates the short novel, Too Loud a Solitude, by Czech writer Bohumil Hrabal, with analyzing the structures and sentences of the book. She makes scores by diagramming and composing the words and sentences to put the text in space.
I liked the book a lot. So many ironies and dramas were compacted beautifully. The sentences were weaved together in building complex structures. The whole book was cold to me. I wanted to know every meaning inside. I decided to translate this book. I named my translation 35.
For 35 years now, for 35 years now, past 35 years.
There is 35 worlds, and nowhere. There is a story from outside a 35 world. You may see or feel a yellow bird there. In 35 world, there is sky.
Everyone wears star hats in the sky.
Next, we will hear from Angelina Kumar. Angelina introduces her long-term project, LDD.
For those listening, LDD stands for Lucrative Dumpster Dives. And Lucrative Dumpster Dives is a foundation that has recently been set up to bring circularity and sustainability into the art and cultural sector. The stores that you're referring to, the art swap shops that are in currently in the HKU, so the academy, the art academy, those ones were set up a few years ago at the different locations with the help of other volunteers and other students, with the idea that we could bring free material to the art practices that were in Academy, and that we wanted to bring in material that was larger and bigger that usually gets wasted from big institutions like the Central Museum or Bach or Impact. They have got some fantastic material like TVs and lights, well, you name it. And so we thought we could filter that in and bring it into the hands of artists on all different spectrums for free.
You are going to hear the artist Singwalai meditative tour from breathing to walking, from observing to communicating. By taking one of the encountering examples in her works, it shares how a similar process of getting inspiration and a connection from natural material in our daily lives.
You start to stretch from your arms to your shoulders, from your back to your hips. You feel a bit tired after the long hours working. Sunlight is still present, and rain is just over.
We have the contributions by the graduating artist Karina Jansen, who will be given an audio tour of her work, Having Tea with Uma, or How to Analyze Children's Books for Racism, an installation with video based on a script she wrote for her master's thesis.
Scorpi. Directly translated is little lamb. It's used sometimes as a term of endearment. I've only heard this word a few times, but I think it has stuck with me. Oma is the Afrikaans word for grandmother. Ordentlikheid can literally be translated to decency or decorum, and is chosen as the name or shape that politeness takes in this play, because it bears a certain weight in Afrikaans culture that might need an entire essay to explore. Maybe you're wondering, but why these words and what is the relation? Then you turn around to see a wooden bench facing a screen. And depending on what moment you sit down, the first thing you might see is 3 words, Scorpi, Oma en Ordentlikheid, in Arial Black 24 font on a white background.
Next we have Anun Chaisansuk, who is a second-year student of MAPA, who composes sound, music and noises.
We have the contributions by the graduating artist CHARLI Herrington.
My name is CHARLI Herrington, and I want to share with you a collaborative project called Conditions of Togetherness, our work on care. You're hearing some music that was created and performed online from a project I did with artist and architect Tommy Hilsey and Ache Collective, an experimental music ensemble. Tommy is the initiator of the Tower of Love, a collectively built tower in Rotterdam made of found material that illustrates the act of making together and caring for one another. Myself and Ache Collective planned to work on a performance around shared labor at the Tower of Love, but our plans were thrown off by the COVID-19 pandemic. Together we worked completely online, with many joys and struggles, through ideas of care within collective art practice. And we created an online performance inspired by the Tower of Love, with music composed and performed by Ache.
And I'm gonna announce the next contribution, Jin Zhao Zhu, with a fragment from artist Jin Zhu lecture performance, The Art of Loving Ourselves, Part 1, Unlearn the Intersectional Shame.
When did you start to perceive and realize your existence? Realize that you as a being exist in the world. My dear friend, I know I'm a tiny being in this infinite universe. So, I guess this is why I'm always searching the boundary between me and the world. I think that is the way I'm trying to not be swallowed by the world.
Next, we have MC Julie talking about her work, Travelogues with Prompts.
Travelogue with Prompt is a script, and it's also a video, and it's also a performance, and it contains 4 scenes. It's actually a collection of my 2 years experience as an international student in Netherlands. The scene 4 is actually a karaoke when all the characters from scene 1 to scene 3 came together and sing karaoke. And that's also the song I want to sing to you today. Some are impressions and some are other songs go on and on and on. No one knows when it will end. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
HKU
The
Master
Master's Fine Art Program.
HKU
The
Master
Master's Fine Art Program.
HKU
The
Master
Master's Fine Art Program. For those of you who do not know what HKU stands for, it's the Art Academy in Utrecht.
Students and graduates of the HKU Master.
Thank you so much for that contribution.